Look, if we have passport controls in Liverpool, does that matter to me? Absolutely not. The things that matter to me are so much more important than this silly debate about whether we'll have the odd border post or passport checks.
And when it comes to peace building, sometimes leaders have to push the boundaries.
Look, if we have passport controls in Liverpool, does that matter to me? Absolutely not.
And when it comes to peace building, sometimes leaders have to push the boundaries.
So we waking up this morning, we listened to Radio Ulster, and on Radio Ulster, excuse me, we hear Jeffrey Donaldson, when asked the question with reference border posts that are going to be built in Northern Ireland, when asked the question, basically, would that be acceptable? Now, Jeffrey, if I'm right in understanding what he did was that he tried to lessen the effect of border posts in Larne, in Belfast, and in Warrenpoint by saying, well, that would be to check EU goods. Let's make one thing clear to each and every person, that a border in the North Channel, the Irish Sea, a sea border, customs checks at Belfast, Larne and at Warrenpoint, that represents a sea border. That represents a separation from the rest of the United Kingdom, England, Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. And if Jeffrey is now accepting of a sea border, well, that would have huge implications for unionism as a whole. Here at Restore UK, we have let off Jeffrey Donaldson and the DUP because that they were seemingly doing the right thing. Now, this is a message to the DUP that if we are wrong, if that we have somehow misinterpreted what it is that you're saying, well, perhaps that you would come along and explain that what you said isn't how that we at Restore UK actually read it. And if we are wrong, well, I personally will apologize and apologize publicly if you can show that you are not minded to do a deal in where that there is a border placed slap bang in the middle of the United Kingdom, separating Northern Ireland from the rest of the United Kingdom. Now, we had it in the past in where that we thought the DUP were going to do the wrong thing, but whenever that they toe the line, whenever that they stand up for unionism, you will note that people like us at Restore, well, we had absolutely no problem and we had no reason to tackle the DUP. But you see, this is our country. This is Northern Ireland, and it doesn't fall to one person or a conglomerate of people within the DUP to do a deal which doesn't suit the rest of Northern Ireland unionism and by extension the rest of the United Kingdom. So we've got to be very, very careful. We've got to keep an eye on the DUP and the DUP's trajectory right now. And here at Restore, we will be watching things with a hawk-like eye. Now, what I want to do is I want to play out with something that we seen that the DUP were doing in the past, and we tackled them on exactly what it is that we believed that they were about to do. So here goes. Watch, share this out if you can. We recognize that social media platforms are curtailing what it is that we do, because we are standing up for the rights of Northern Ireland unionism within the United Kingdom. We'll be back later when we hear what happens throughout the day.
Look, if we have passport controls in Liverpool, does that matter to me? Absolutely not. The things that matter to me are so much more important than this silly debate about whether we'll have the odd border post or passport checks.
You know, the greatest challenge that we face is bringing our own people with us, making peace with your friends.
Any man who is not with us is against us. When is a unionist not a unionist? When he creates disunion.
Well, in the end, customs checks doesn't mean that you change the constitutional status of a part of the United Kingdom.
This is the most momentous election that we have ever had to face. We must elect those who would fight for the Union, not those who would oppose it.
Already we're seeing the political parties and business leaders coming together to see how we actually exploit the opportunities that may arise from this situation.
Any man who is not with us is against us.
And when it comes to peace building, sometimes leaders have to push the boundaries to see how we actually exploit the opportunities that may arise from this situation.
Any man who is not with us is against us.
The Northern Ireland Assembly is the place where every element of our society is represented. Such partnership is how we must move forward.
And when it comes to peace building, sometimes leaders have to push the boundaries.
When is a unionist not a unionist? When he creates disunion.
The sheet of paper you were given didn't show you all these different regulations on them, so it didn't even mention how many regulations there were. And when I queried that, I asked one of the DUP spads, because I knew it had something to do with it, and I was given this assurance that it was keeping us in line with the rest of the United Kingdom, and there was absolutely nothing to worry about.
And when it comes to peace building, sometimes leaders have to push the boundaries.
I trusted what I was told, and I made a mistake, and that's how it was sold to me, and I can only apologise.
The Northern Ireland Assembly is the place where every element of our society is represented.
And when it comes to peace building, sometimes leaders have to push the boundaries.
In August 2016, within weeks of the EU referendum, my party leader, Arlene Foster, penned a letter jointly with the then Deputy First Minister, Martin McGuinness. That letter was written to the UK Prime Minister, Theresa May. And it's worth quoting, I think, from this letter. This region is unique in that it is the only part of the UK which has a land border with an EU member state. There have been difficult issues relating to the border throughout our history and the peace process. We therefore appreciate your stated determination that the border will not become an impediment to the movement of people, goods and services.
Any man who is not with us is against us.
It was pragmatic and constructive. As then First Minister and Deputy First Minister, these two leaders were writing in the same spirit of mutual respect and common sense, which enabled my party and Sinn Féin to reach agreement at St Andrews and subsequently to establish a power-sharing government.
We must elect those who will fight for the Union, not those who would oppose it.
And therefore, making peace with your enemies is important, but it can only be successful if you make peace with your friends. Thank you.